Alright, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another video. Payload is coming back. This is Season 6, January 2023. And Nyx is also coming in this patch, if you ever heard of it. If you're watching this in the future, I hope that Payload is still a thing. And Payload is coming back, which I know that some of you don't know what Payload is, so I'm going to show you a little bit of it. And the mode itself is going to be available during the week from Monday, 8 a.m. on Eastern time, whatever EST means, to Friday at midnight. And then during the weekend, there'll be an LTM. Okay, so Payload will be disabled during the weekend so that you guys can focus on testing out the LTMs or have fun with the new LTMs. They might create some new ones, bring back the old ones that everybody loves, without actually bringing too much confusion for people to like, oh, am I going to play Payload or LTMs, right? So like they divided it a little bit, which makes sense. With obviously only the 3 normal maps that Payload had: Ice Push, Outpost, and Jungle. For example, in this case, I'm going to show you the Hidden Temple, which is Jungle, but I don't really know why they gave it a different name, but sure, whatever. There were some spottings from people who currently do data mine or whatever. I don't know what exactly they got this information from, but there seems to be some map hidden around, like with the theme of Bright's March. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. If it is to come, I guess we'll find that out later. Now, excuse my cringiness on this video. This was 5 years ago. This is when the mode was announced to be removed. This was 5 years ago. This was my last video of Payload. I was playing Pip, and I was still very recent. I was on console before you start asking why the hell are you Diamond? And then you're gonna do the exact same thing that you did at the start. So there's not gonna be any sound. I'm not gonna put the sound of the video. I'm gonna be talking over it. Also, all 3 Payload maps are reworked. Are you saying that they are reworked? Good, if that's true. But Victor usually goes and checks stuff out, and that he didn't say that they were reworked, so I doubt it. All right, let's go here and show you a little bit what Payload is. And Payload is not the same as Siege. Payload, you have 2 different rounds, and you start on one round as a defender or an attacker, and the other team does the other thing. In this case, I was so stupid that you can actually hear me. I'll leave the link for this video on the description, but you hear me say, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to be the one healing, and then I picked Catalyst. So, yeah, and then I picked... Forget it. I guess I was just not trusting my teammates. Old Cauterize, by the way, rip Cauterize. And if you guys remember, separate Haven and Blast Shields. When I started, there was no aggression. Okay, forget it. That item did not exist on PlayStation. We never got to even see it there. Old Veteran. I still prefer the Old Veteran, but whatever. And so the idea is, on this round, as you can see here, there's like a 0% on top for us. We are the ones defending. We are on the side of the map where the Payload spawns. We're going to have to push the Payload. And the enemy team, what they have to do is slow us down or stop us. And how much we move the Payload, it will basically tell us the percentage. So imagine that we only go to 50%. So now that in the second round, the enemy team has to do more than 50% in the same amount of time. So if we take all the time that it's necessary for a round, they will have the exact same time. If imagine that we take it all the way to 100%, which means we delivered it, but we delivered it in like 1 or 2 minutes. That means now they have to do the exact same thing, but with less time than what we did. Okay, so it's like a race to see who pushes it further faster. All right, we don't have to capture a point. It's that simple. I actually went for Kronos, at least for damaging healing Pip. Surprisingly enough, I was actually cringing here. You can see the camera was a bit different for the mount, and here we get to see the map. Like, this is the jungle map, or what they call in this case would be the Hidden Temple. We already had Strix back in the day and Vivian. Apparently Old Victor is also there. Yes, that is true. I believe Old Victor on my team, exactly. And so we're already pushing it. We see a top 9, 10%, 11%. We're actually pushing it. Terminus was also already a thing, and funnily enough, the enemy team was not trying to slow us down much here, so that's why we just so you have the idea. Yagarath was never on this mode. So I wouldn't be surprised that Yagarath might actually create issues. Yagarath, Atlas, with his teleportation, etc. Corvus very much likely is gonna have tons of issues where like you're gonna send over the knife through that little tiny window and then it's not gonna allow you to go to the other side. You also have like these little points here. I think if I remember correctly, this was in case you stop moving the payload, it starts, you know, going slowly back. So I think what it does is like once it would reach these points, it would stop here so it doesn't go too much to the back. It's like a checkpoint, exactly. You then have a ton of flanking routes, as you can see here. In this specific map, it was actually interesting because you had like a little spiral here. You would have to go underneath this, the little turn there, and then you would be on the top, which would be interesting. You had a lot of high grounds, low grounds. It was a tight map at the same time that it was like very open with a lot of flanking routes. And personally, I loved that. All right, I loved that. And I feel like that's actually pretty fantastic. I love the mode as well. It was different. It's not the same thing. Like, it was literally just like fight and just keep pushing the payload, right? You don't have to worry about having to contest on a point with combat mechanics. This is my issue with Siege. I don't like the combat mechanics. I've never liked combat mechanics. I feel like if the game is supposed to end early, just let it end early. That's it. I don't care. I was actually surprisingly good even for console in a damage healing pip. Interesting. Wow. Okay, I was not expecting that. I'm looking at this, I'm like, I've never seen this, like, I don't remember the gameplay, and I don't remember playing this good. I thought I was really trash when I was on PlayStation. Okay. Very nice. And yeah, you had a ton of like flank routes. You had that little place there with the waterfall right there, which you can then go down in a ramp to meet this place right there inside of the tunnel. We see here we're already at 75%, and I want to push this forward just a little bit to show you guys where we're going to see they're contesting. It lets us know we have still like 4 minutes on the clock. So basically, it's pretty easy to get to 100%. But the idea is we got to do it as fast as possible, because then the enemy team has to do it under the time that you did, right? And that is an ad. So I'm going to pause this real quick. And we're back. Okay, sorry. Those ads are everywhere, literally. Every single video I watch, there's those ads everywhere, specifically for that game. Goddamn, annoying. So, this was a very open room. I don't even remember this room. Jesus. Oh, in case you're wondering, I'm going to show you right now once the next round starts, when we are the attackers. We're currently almost here delivering it, and there we go. We're going to deliver it if we get to kill this Terminus here. He's going to probably ult, but it's too late. We've delivered it, and we did it under what time? So I think it's a 3:23. How much time did we have when we started? We had like 7 minutes. So we spent like 4 minutes or so. Now what's going to happen here, after we finish it, we go to round 2, switching sides. Now we are the attackers. We get to get out of the spawn first. All right. We also have like 1,000 credits or something. So you know, I don't know why I just bought Kronos 1. Oh, because Kronos was like 400, 800 back then. That's true. So then like we have a little bit of time to set up. We just leave our spawn, go all the way to the place where the payload is going to spawn. And yes, you can also only buy 1 item per color of category. So that's what is interesting. So many has changed since Payload has been gone that I cannot imagine how the gameplay now is going to feel, because I feel like it's going to be way more fast-paced. It's going to be way more chaotic. And with the new champions and everything, there's just so many things that we can actually test. And as you can see here, we still have a little bit of time till they leave the spawn. We're just taunting them there a little bit. Here they are just leaving the spawn. And we're already spawn trapping. You can actually spawn trap on this mode, which is interesting. Here I was looking for Strix, I think. And now, as you see, the time for them is different. The time for them is the amount of time it took us to fully complete the 100%. Okay, you see that little white bar right there? Where I have my mouse? Yeah, that's the amount of percentage we did on our round. Right? So if we did 50%, that would mean they would have the entire time, because to be in 50%, we don't lose. We wasted the entire time to do 50%, which means that the enemy team now can do the exact same thing with a lot less, right? With a lot less, they need a less percentage with the exact same time. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry. And I believe that in this game we won, because I don't think they even left the spawn for that entire time. Like, as you can see, they couldn't move it. And it can be very oppressive. You see there a little ghost of the payload to let us know what the limit is. That's also very interesting. It's very complicated because in this case, I don't believe they have the time to push it. So right here, they could have just given up already. And I feel like it can be very oppressive in sometimes, but at least there's no combat mechanics. I know the combat mechanics is to counter the oppressiveness, but it also helps people who are not really doing that good. They're not really playing as a team. It gives them a ton of time for them to regroup, get items to counter us. And even if we are doing super good, some items will definitely just counter certain characters. Like you got Sky with Illuminate, you got people buying Havens and Veterans just being super hard to kill, max kill to heal, max Nimbles and etc. for Terminus and so on. Like the game gets really chaotic at late game, so combat mechanics gives the room for people to just be like, ah, whatever, we don't need to play hard at the start, you know, we just farm, and then late game you win. And that's why I don't like it. And here you're going to see they're not really going to be able to push it. They are going here to, running out of time, and they have like 20 seconds. They literally cannot win anymore. And then we win because of it. And they get to show us where the payload was for the victory team. So yeah, this is one of the maps. I can actually give you a couple of glimpses. Oh god. Top plays, the memories. Unfortunate. What top play was this? Pip was insane. He's still insane. I feel like just people don't really want to play it. But made this serve as a proof that I've always played Pip, even if I was on console. My god, stop with the ads, please. I'm going to show you one of the other maps here. This was actually done by Old Victor. I do not know how he did it. I'm not even care. I don't even care. This is the map that we used to have, but it's an early, like a closer to now gameplay. There's a map that you are in a safe, and basically you stole whatever's in the safe. You'll see that on the payload. The payload will actually spawn in with a lot of gold and so on. And you get out of the safe, and the enemy team is already out there, obviously, to try to prevent you from running away. That's where the payload is. It spawns right there, and you have to pull it. Like, this is the ice map, the ice mines map. It's actually pretty good. There's also the... if you guys remember the shooting... Not the shooting range, the tutorial, you get to see this map where they tell you to push the payload. That map is actually a payload map. I'm not kidding. It was just like altered a little bit, and you can see here the map is like even has like this hole here where people can just flank you from above. It's really insane. I'm imagining that they did try to do a couple of changes, I guess. The maps were massive. That's why part of the reason to us only having like 3 maps. Because, you know, developing a map for this mode was very complicated. It's a lot cheaper to do a TDM map and an Onslaught map than obviously a Siege map or a Payload map. In fact, Payload map is much more expensive, probably. As you can see, Ram here on this mode, completely normal, you know, this has always happened, right? And the map was also very, very gorgeous. It had the trees that were removed from some of the maps of currently TDMs that we have and everything. And since I'm talking about this, I'm showing you this, and I'm just letting it play in the back, and I just want to say this. The AOC and a bunch of people from the community, the previous AOCs, we've all worked really hard to beg, to ask, to give ideas for them to please bring Payload. We told them, listen, the player base really wants it. You've always complained about it. You always wanted it. And we let them know. We told them, listen, they want it. And they always told us this is not an easy thing to do. You know, we have to test every single new champion in the modes, possibly do some changes, fix stuff that were broken. It's not an easy thing. Like, there's new mechanics, there's new items, a lot needs to go in playtesting this. But they didn't told us. They didn't told us, but apparently they were already in the work, or they did it. And as you can see, they've already confirmed it 100%. It's going. It's on the it's on the patch notes, so I'm not making stuff up. This is one of the maps. The one that I showed you before is the other one. Let me see if I can get you the third one, which is the tutorial map, what I call the tutorial map. So here's the other map. It's called Outpost, and he's already playing Nyx in this one. Oh, right. Oh, dude, Jesus. So again, it's like a safe or whatever. It's like you're stealing stuff and you take the payload to try to take it, you know, take the loot with you, basically. That's the idea that it was for. You see the payload has like crowns and gold and stuff. And the map here, it still is not very, how do I explain? It doesn't look like much yet, but give it a second, because eventually we're gonna get to a little specific part here. It's right there, where the tutorial ends right there where he's looking at. So if you want to go back into the tutorial map and you'll see what I'm talking about here. And here it is, some of the areas. This area is unaccessed, like you cannot access it on the tutorial. And here, this is like where it ends. Literally here, it's where it ends. There's the grass that's been removed as well. So it's there, and apparently you actually go invisible, surprisingly enough. So they're bringing back the grass? Question mark? Seems like a good idea. I would like that. I still think the invisible grass was cool, like, you know, other characters. Oh, Vora going invisible. Looks very nice. So here it is, part of the place. This also has a little bit of timber mill to it. As you can see here, there's portions here that resemble like timber mill, right? This part right here. But obviously, timber mill's already been reworked. It lost a lot. So it's gonna be super, super awesome to just go back and revisit these things. Like, I am so happy. I really wanted it to be on PDS right now and tested it out, because I don't know, man. It just, the memories. And if they didn't change anything, if they didn't change anything, you know, it might actually have still these old styles and textures, and that's, I think, what a lot of people liked back in the day. They had tons of ways to flank and etc. Like, you see these little beams of wood there. You can jump from this window to the beams of wood to go to the other side and then jump to the other side. Like, this is insane. Like, a lot has been removed over time of paladins, and it's just sad to see, to be honest. This is basically timber mill almost. From the middle all the way till the end, it was timber mill. Also, so apparently Old Victor has noticed this. A couple of changes are happening in the maps, and I'm imagining this might be Shaq trying to fix something, because like this portion right here, right? It was cropped for some reason. Interesting. So if they're doing this here, they might be doing changes on other places. You can see the hard style here is the one from the shooting range. You see, like the old trees and etc. Old Jaguar Falls as well, Frog Isle and everything. Like, I like that style, to be honest. There's a 3 broken textures on jungle map alone. Okay, so I'm guessing because they cropped it, like they cropped the object. I don't know why. Is it to make it more open, to be less heavy? What is it? Good question. But either way, folks, what I'm trying to say with this video is not just to let you know what Payload is and to show you the maps, but I also want to ask you guys for one thing. Please play the mode. All right, we worked really hard to convince the developers that this is something that you guys wanted, because you've always said you want it and you've always cried about it, and they've mentioned it multiple times and you were always like, oh, they promised it, it never came into the game, and it's there. So please play the game. If you want to give as much feedback as possible, there's places like Discord and so on. You have even my Discord specifically. I'm technically speaking not an AUC anymore, but you can still give Discord feedback to me and I'll pass it along. I'm constantly still working with them. So play it as much as possible. Remember, it's going to be up during the week. For anyone who doesn't like the pick anything, here's a fun little idea. Go play this mode. You know, maybe you don't want to play on Siege because there's gonna be these issues of 5 stacks and so on, then combat mechanics or whatever. Just come in here and enjoy this. Like, don't even worry about winning. Just enjoy looking at the maps, absorb it all, and just play it, okay? Because if we get to make this a permanent mode, there's a possibility. If we get to make this a permanent mode, that'd be fantastic. That means that our current community or the rest of it is actually united for something that we spoke for 4 to 5 years, and we've always you know, we stood our foot down about this, and we actually are getting it back. I'm not saying the developers are, how do you say, like, it's not proud. The word where like you don't want to, you know, you don't want to give things, you want to be like stubborn, basically. I'm not saying that, but I do know how much of struggle they had to go through and how much there's like issues with these maps, the game mode, and etc. So obviously it's not going to be an easy thing. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know when it's going to be up, if it's going to be on live or it's still going to be on PDS before it goes into live servers. But either way, they might still show us something in like 2 days on the showcase. So make sure that you tune in to join me on the live reaction on my channel, twitch.tv/CreepersYT. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Again, don't forget, play it, feedback, and love it. Bye. Thank you so much for watching.